I've known Jeff Van Gundy since he was a quiet assistant, okay? And you would never have thought he would have ever morphed into the guy he's become doing the finals with Breen and Mark Jackson as this kind of, uncontrollable, crazy guy on the air that he's become. He reminds me of Billy Packer in that regard because they're very different in person than they are when they're on the air. But Van Gundy's a good guy, really good guy. And like I said, I've known him since he was an assistant, and he and I have always been close, and I've known him since, went through the years when he was a top coach and everything else. But the reason I bring it up is last year, you might remember, he went off about Breen should be in the Hall of Fame, that he should get the Kurt Gowdy Award because he's done it 14 NBA Finals, and that he just didn't get the credit because he's got a little more of an unassuming style, and he followed Marv Albert and everything else, and blah, blah, blah. Well, don't think that didn't have an impact because it clearly did because now, and rightly so, Breeny got into the Hall of Fame. So Breeny gets the award this year, and I'm sure, knowing Mike Breen as long as I do, and I know him, too long, I'm sure that means more to him than if you could ask one Hall of Fame Breeny would get into. The one he wanted to get into would be the NBA Hall of Fame. The basketball Hall of Fame. I know it's both, so it's different in basketball, but the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame. Okay, he gets the Gowdy Award as the media guy getting in this year. So congratulations to him. He deserves it. He's done the fine. If you get to do the NBA Finals for 14 years in a row, you should be in the Hall of Fame. That if you're at the top of your sport for 14 years, you should be in that sports Hall of Fame. That's all there is to it. You've been the voice of the league for the guy who does the finals is the voice of the league. He's been the voice of the league for all these years. He eats, drinks, and sleeps basketball. Other than golf, which he does also in the offseason. But he loves basketball. And, he's, except for being too protective of the officials, which is a flaw he has. I mean, he just does. And he'll yell at me about it on the golf course, or he'll yell about it all year when I get on the officials. And he yells and Jeff will get on the officials, or Mark will get on the officials, and they rightfully get on the officials. But he always protects the officials, which we know. But he belongs in the Hall of Fame, and he's going to go in. It looks like with a heck of a group. So you got Kobe Bryant. You got now these are the guys who are the finalists. Tell me which one of these guys wouldn't get in. Kobe Bryant, lock. Tim Duncan, lock. Kevin Garnett, lock. Rudy Tomjanovich, lock. Eddie Sutton, lock. Eddie Sutton, one of the best coaches that I ever saw in college basketball. Great and a really good guy. Eddie Sutton, I told you, I've made this comment before. Through the year, one of the things I always like to do is I'd like to sit around practice when we were going in to do a game, or when I'd be at an arena with a coach, that I was going to do his game the next day. I'd sit around practice the day before talking about teams and this and that. And there were two guys that had great opinions about other teams, Eddie Sutton and Jim Boeheim. They watched everything. They not only watched everything. So if Boeheim told you this team out west could really play, you put that in the back of your head because that team could really play. And the same thing is true of Eddie Sutton. When Eddie Sutton would tell you, and I'd sit with Eddie Sutton and he'd tell me about this team or this guy, or, hey, we played this guy the other night, man. They had this little point guard. And you'd store that away, and it would always turn out to be true. Eddie Sutton was great at that. And he was a great coach and a great defensive coach. And just an underrated, legendary coach. Rudy T, you know what he did. Garnett, tremendous all-around player who will actually be overshadowed here by the great Tim Duncan, who's one of the 10 greatest players of all time. And then, of course, he will be overshadowed by the iconic, figure that is Kobe Bryant, especially now. So that's a heck of a group. Throw Breeny in there. And then on the women's side, Tamika Catchings, Kim Mulkey. From the women's side, they're both locks. Barbara Stevens. So that group, that's a heck of a group. And then throw Breeny in as the Gowdy winner, and they got a great group there. So congratulations to all of them. To Kobe's family, to Duncan, to Garnett, to Sutton, to Tom Janovich. Not one of them wouldn't get in. I mean, they're all finalists, but they'll all get in. And Brini gets the Gowdy Award, so and very deserving. So congratulations to Brini for that. He deserves that. And Van Gundy was complaining about it last March. I mean, last May he was yelling about it that Brini should get in. And now look at that, Brini gets in. So good for him. He did a good job with that. All right, so that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear it. He deserves it. Like I said, if you do an NBA Finals, if you're a play-by-play guy and you ascend and you do it, now he's done the Knicks all these years, as we know, and he does 50 games a year, and then he goes off and does his other stuff that he does nationally. But you do the finals in your lifetime, and you made it to the big time. If you do the finals for 14 straight years, man, you're a fixture. That's unbelievable. I mean, when you get to do the NBA Finals or do anything, the World Series, Super Bowl, and you get to do one, when you get to do these things, over and over and over, and you spend 20 years I mean, he's already done it for 14 years, and he's not slowing down. He's got years left. He's got plenty of years left. He could definitely hit 20 years or more. I mean, they'll have to throw him out the door they'll have to throw him out the door with the car running. He's not going to leave. I can tell you that right now, man. This is his love. He's not going to leave. Nobody likes the NBA more than Brini. Nobody. He eats and sleeps and drinks it. So that's it. That's what. And listen, he's a big golfer. He loves the Mets. He's a good sports guy. Okay, but he is Mr. NBA. That's what he lives for. He really does. So the fact that he gets in, I'm very happy for him. He deserves it.